The Galactic Empire was a marvel of order and progress, stretching across countless star systems and housing a myriad of species, each more diverse than the last. Yet, even its monumental reach and unparalleled technology couldn't solve every problem. Deep within the Outer Rim, a mining colony on the planet Tarvax 9 had become overrun by a virulent alien infestation. The creatures, dubbed void crawlers, were relentless predators with acid-like blood and a hive intelligence. They thrived in the planet's toxic atmosphere, rendering all previous extermination efforts futile. The Empire had issued a desperate call for recruits to take on the galaxy's deadliest job, clearing Tarvax 9 of its invaders. The Empire's broadcast was chillingly direct. A holographic figure, clad in the ornate armor of the Galactic Council, announced the mission. Volunteers are required for a task of unparalleled peril. Success will bring untold riches, intergalactic fame, and access to technologies beyond imagination. Failure is likely across the galaxy. Species known for their courage or recklessness balked. The job was a death sentence, and even the boldest warriors hesitated. Yet on a small, unassuming planet called Earth, the message sparked an entirely different reaction. "Sign me up!" Laughter erupted in the crowded bar as Dax Carter, a wiry thrill-seeker with a perpetual smirk, raised his glass. "You're telling me they'll pay us to fight aliens on some hellhole of a planet? Sounds like my kind of fun." Across the table, Maria Vega, a former soldier with sharp eyes and a no-nonsense demeanor, frowned. "It's not a game, Dax. Those things wiped out an entire colony. You're not going for the challenge. You're going to die." Dax shrugged. "We're all going to die someday. Might as well make it interesting." Maria leaned back, her gaze thoughtful. She wasn't here for the thrill. Years of military service had left her disillusioned, struggling to find purpose. The offer from the Galactic Empire was dangerous, yes, but it promised something she hadn't felt in years, a sense of significance. At a nearby table, Dr. Elijah Monroe, a biologist with unkempt hair and a habit of muttering to himself, scribbled notes on his tablet. The void crawler's hive mind, fascinating. If we could study them up close, he trailed off, his eyes gleaming with a mix of fear and excitement. For Elijah, this wasn't about fame or fortune. It was about knowledge. The human response to the Galactic Empire's call was overwhelming. Thousands applied, their motivations as varied as their backgrounds. Some were desperate for the promised wealth. Others craved adventure, and a few, like Elijah, sought answers to questions no one else dared to ask. When the list of accepted recruits was announced, the Galactic Council convened to discuss the unexpected influx of human volunteers. Humans, one counselor scoffed, his tentacles twitching in disbelief. They're primitive, fragile. What could they possibly offer in this endeavor? They are unpredictable, another counselor countered, her insectoid mandibles clicking thoughtfully. And their willingness to face certain death is unusual. The debate continued, but the decision had already been made. The humans were accepted, not because they were the best choice, but because they were the only choice. No other species had volunteered in such numbers, and the Empire was running out of time. Back on Earth, Maria, Dax, and Elijah received their summons. The message was brief and impersonal, yet it carried the weight of destiny. Report to Tarvax 9. Training begins immediately. As the three boarded the massive transport ship that would take them to the Outer Rim, each grappled with their reasons for signing up. For Maria, it was a chance to reclaim her sense of purpose. For Dax, it was a thrill of the unknown. And for Elijah, it was the pursuit of knowledge that could redefine humanity's place in the universe. The ship hummed to life, its engines glowing with a faint blue light. The humans were not alone. A handful of alien recruits had also been accepted, their expressions ranging from cautious optimism to outright disdain for their human counterparts. Maria glanced at Dax, who was already trying to charm a reptilian warrior with his easy grin. She sighed. "This is going to be a disaster." Elijah, sitting nearby, didn't seem to hear her. He was too busy studying a holographic projection of the void crawlers, his face alight with curiosity. As the ship entered hyperspace, the recruits settled in for the journey. They were headed for the deadliest job in the galaxy, a task so dangerous that no one expected them to return. Yet, in their hearts, they carried a spark of hope, or perhaps defiance, that set them apart from every other species. The Galactic Empire had offered humanity a challenge, and humanity had answered with a resounding, reckless, unrelenting yes. The transport ship's descent on a Tarvax 9 was anything but smooth. The planet's atmosphere, a swirling mix of sulfuric gases and volatile storms, battered the vessel relentlessly. Inside, the recruits gripped their seats, their faces pale as the ship rattled violently. Dax Carter grinned despite the turbulence. If this is the warm-up, I can't wait for the main event. Maria Vega shot him a glare. Keep talking, and I'll let you test the planet's surface without a suit. Dr. Elijah Monroe, seated near a viewport, was too absorbed in his observations to respond. His tablet captured data on the planet's surface, which appeared as a jagged wasteland of blackened rock and glowing fissures. Fascinating, he murmured. The environment alone could kill us within minutes. Perfect conditions for the void crawlers to thrive. The ship landed with a bone-jarring thud, and the recruits were immediately ushered out into the colony's fortified base. The airlock hissed open, revealing a dimly lit interior reinforced with layers of steel and energy shields. Alien instructors, their forms as varied as their species, awaited them with grim expressions. The lead instructor, a towering insectoid named Xyler, clicked his mandibles as he addressed the group. Welcome to Tarvax 9. Your survival depends on your ability to adapt. Many of you will fail. Some of you will die. The rest, if there are any, will earn your reward. The recruits were divided into teams, each assigned a sector of the infested mines to clear. Maria, Dax, and Elijah found themselves grouped together, along with a reptilian warrior named Crawleys and a diminutive, tech-savvy alien called Vix. Their training began immediately. The recruits were drilled in the use of specialized weapons designed to pierce the void crawlers' exoskeletons, and in techniques for navigating the unstable mines. The instructors made no effort to hide their disdain for the humans. Your species is reckless and undisciplined, Xyler sneered during one session. You will be the first to fall. Maria, already weary of the aliens' condescension, squared her shoulders. Then we'll fall fighting. Her defiance earned a flicker of surprise from Xyler, though he quickly masked it. The first mission came sooner than anyone expected. A mining outpost had gone silent, its workers presumed dead. Maria's team was tasked with investigating and, if possible, clearing the infestation. As they descended into the mines, the oppressive heat and acrid air pressed down on them. The walls glistened with an organic slime that pulsed faintly, as if alive. Dax scanned the corridor with his weapon, his usual bravado replaced by wary alertness. I'm starting to think this wasn't such a great idea. Maria ignored him, her focus on their surroundings. Stay sharp. They could be anywhere. Elijah lagged slightly behind, his tablet clutched tightly. This substance, it's part of their hive structure. They're adapting the environment to suit their needs. Less science, more survival, Crawleys growled, his reptilian eyes scanning the shadows. The first attack came without warning. A void crawler, its sleek, black form blending seamlessly with the darkness, lunged from the ceiling. Its razor-sharp limbs slashed through the air, narrowly missing Vix, who scrambled back with a yelp. Maria reacted instantly, her weapon firing a concentrated energy burst that struck the creature's carapace. It screeched, a high-pitched sound that reverberated through the mine, before collapsing in a smoking heap. That's one, Maria muttered, her grip tightening on her weapon. But the screech had been a signal. Within moments, more void crawlers emerged from the walls, their movements unervingly coordinated. Back-to-back formation. Maria barked, her military training kicking in. The team formed a defensive circle, their weapons firing in every direction. Dax's aim was surprisingly steady, and even Elijah managed a few shots, though his hands trembled. The battle was chaotic, the air filled with the stench of burning flesh and the shrieks of dying creatures. Despite their efforts, the team began to falter. Vix was grazed by a void crawler's limb, her suit's integrity compromised. Crawley sustained a deep gash to his side, his blood pooling on the ground. Maria gritted her teeth, determination fueling her every move. We're not dying here. Push forward. With a final, desperate surge, the team managed to fight their way to a defensible position. The void crawlers, though relentless, retreated into the shadows, their hive minds seemingly recalculating. As the team caught their breath, Elijah knelt beside one of the fallen creatures, his tablet scanning its remains. They're not just attacking blindly. They're testing us. Dax slumped against the wall, his usual grin replaced by a grimace. Great. Smart monsters. Just what we needed. Maria surveyed her team, her chest heaving. They had survived, but barely. The mission was far from over, and the mines held more dangers than they could imagine. For now, though, they had won a small victory. And in the deadly game they were playing, every victory mattered. The final assault on the Void Crawler's hive was a desperate gamble. After weeks of grueling missions, Maria's team had uncovered the nest location deep within the mines. It was a pulsating organic labyrinth teeming with the creatures, and destroying it meant collapsing the mine entirely. The Galactic Council had approved the plan, though their approval carried an implicit message. Survival was optional. Success was not. Maria stood at the edge of the hive's entrance, her weapon at the ready. Behind her, Dax adjusted his gear with uncharacteristic seriousness, while Elijah triple-checked the explosive strapped to his pack. Crawleys and Vix, still recovering from their injuries, stood guard at the rear. "This is it," Maria said, her voice steady despite the tension in the air. "We go in, plant the charges, and get out before this place comes down on us." Dax smirked faintly. Simple, except for the thousands of murder bugs in our way. Maria allowed herself a small smile. "You wanted excitement, didn't you?" The team moved cautiously into the hive, the air growing thicker with every step. The walls pulsed with a sickly green light, and the sound of skittering claws echoed all around them. Elijah's voice broke the silence, hushed but urgent. "The hive structure, it's alive. The crawlers are symbiotic with their environment. Destroying this will destabilize the entire ecosystem." Maria didn't slow her pace. "Then we'd better move fast." As they reached the hive's core, the team encountered the queen. She was massive, her black carapace glistening with an unnatural sheen, and her multifaceted eyes seemed to watch them with cold intelligence. Around her, dozens of void crawlers swarmed, their movements protective and aggressive. Maria raised her weapon. "Dax, cover me. Elijah, get those charges set." The battle that followed was chaos. The queen let out a deafening screech, and the crawlers surged forward. Dax and Crawleys fought side by side, their weapons blazing as they held the line. Vix, despite her injuries, used her tech expertise to disable some of the crawlers' movements, creating brief openings. Elijah worked quickly, his hands trembling as he placed the charges. "Almost there," he shouted over the cacophony. Maria darted between the creatures, firing with precision. She caught sight of the queen advancing toward Elijah and didn't hesitate. Sprinting forward, she fired a concentrated energy blast that struck the queen's flank, causing her to recoil. "Elijah now!" Maria yelled. With a final, frantic motion, Elijah activated the detonator. "Charges are set. We've got 2 minutes." The team began their retreat, fighting every step of the way. The hive's walls trembled, and chunks of rock began to fall as the charges destabilized the mine. The queen, wounded but not defeated, let out a final, enraged screech, sending the remaining crawlers into a frenzy. Dax pulled Maria forward as a massive rock fell where she had been standing. "No time for heroics, Captain. They reached the exit just as the charges detonated. The ground shook violently, and a deafening roar filled the air as the mine collapsed, burying the hive and its inhabitants beneath tons of rock. The team stumbled out into the open, coughing and gasping for breath. The fortified base loomed in the distance, a beacon of safety amidst the chaos. For a moment, they stood in silence, staring at the smoking ruins of the mine. Then Dax let out a shaky laugh. "Well, that was fun. Let's never do it again." Maria turned to Elijah, who was still clutching his tablet. "Did we get it all?" Elijah nodded, his expression grim. "The hive is destroyed. The ecosystem will recover in time, but the void crawlers won't." Their return to the base was met with a mixture of awe and disbelief. The alien instructors, who had doubted humanity's resilience, now regarded them with newfound respect. Xyler, the insectoid leader, approached Maria with a nod of acknowledgement. "You succeeded where others failed," he said. "Your species is formidable." Maria met his gaze evenly. "We're survivors." The Galactic Council honored the team with rewards beyond their wildest dreams: wealth, advanced technology, and intergalactic recognition. Yet, the victory was bittersweet. Many recruits had been lost, and the emotional scars of the mission ran deep. As the team prepared to leave Tarvax 9, Elijah lingered near the transport ship, his gaze fixed on the horizon. "What's on your mind?" Maria asked, joining him. Elijah hesitated before replying. "We learned so much here. About them, about ourselves. But I wonder, what happens when the next challenge comes? When something even worse than the void crawlers appears?" Maria placed a hand on his shoulder. "Then we'll face it. That's what we do." As the ship lifted off, the team watched Tarvax 9 fade into the distance. They had survived the deadliest job in the galaxy, proving humanity's resilience and resourcefulness to an empire that had doubted them. But more than that, they had proven it to themselves.